what is sustainability? Sustainability is creating a closed-loop system that prevents depletion of natural resources to maintain balance. This is one of our biggest priorities here at Dow, and our project is to bring visibility to greenhouse gas emissions.
Hey Blake, I have some questions about sustainability. Do you want to go for an ergo walk?
Sure.
What are some examples of greenhouse gas emissions?
Well, I know of three. The first is carbon dioxide, the next one's NOx, which is nitrogen oxides, and the third is particulate matter.
I heard CO2 raises global temperature by trapping the emissions in the atmosphere. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that actual rise in temperature can affect weather patterns, wildlife environments, and crop seasons. In the US, CO2 makes about 80% of the total greenhouse gases.
Wow, that's really scary. Now you mentioned NOx and particulate matter. What is that?
NOx is a poisonous gas that can form acid rain and increase respiratory problems and affect things such as asthma and pneumonia. Particulate matter is a smog that you can see in the air.
Wow, I wonder how Dow can eliminate their emissions.
I actually know a guy that can help us with that.
Oh really? Okay, let's go. Hey Nolan, Blake told me you'd be a good person to talk to about cutting down emissions at Dow.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a project right now with transportation emissions, which take up 40% of total.
Do we keep track of truck emissions currently?
Yeah, actually we keep track of pretty much all emissions, marine and air as well, and I can gather a team to start working on this and you can join if you want.
Oh, that would be awesome. Let's do it.
So we have data from SmartWay, which is a service from the EPA that lists different trucking carriers and the emissions that they produce in CO2, NOx, and particulate matter. And we can use that data to help Dow produce better visibility on what emissions they create. Alright, so we've gathered a team of trusty interns to work on this. We're going to go to the DFC to check it out.
Oh, hey, funny to run into you. Do you want to see the project that we've been working on?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right, come here.
So as Hannah and Nolan were saying, there's a huge disconnect between SmartWay database and Dow Carrier database. Dow Carrier database consists of all the carriers that support Dow supply chain, but not all of them are registered with SmartWay. So their emissions are actually not being provided to us right now through SmartWay, and their rankings are not available. And on the SmartWay database side, it consists of everybody who's registered to SmartWay. So there are a lot of other carriers out there that are not supporting Dow right now, are not partnered with Dow, but going forward, we could leverage them potentially if the data was more visible. So what we did is we took the SCAC, which is carrier identification, four-letter number or letters pretty much, and we paired that with the mode of transportation within the trucks. So by using those two information, we can partner up SmartWay database carriers with our Dow carriers and find the best Dow carriers in our system, and at the same time look for potentially other carriers down the road as well.
We have several truck types, including heavy bulk, package, and flatbed. And down here it shows all the Dow the current Dow carrier with SmartWay. And below that are all the SmartWay options. Over here we have which SmartWay Dow is currently using that has the best emission, and over here are the best emission for all these other SmartWay options.
All right.
Alright, so we have our current Dow carriers listed with their SmartWay emissions data, as well as our SmartWay carriers with their emission data. So one of the issues that we face is Dow carriers from our Dow database do not have any emissions information on them. So what we had to do is match SmartWay's information with Dow's information. And that did lead to some problems. Dow does have a lot of different carriers, and unfortunately they are not all partnered with SmartWay. So we did have to leave those out for this demonstration. But for the future, we could encourage the carriers that Dow is currently using to partner with SmartWay so we can get a more clear picture of our emissions use. So another thing that we had an issue with was with matching the data. Dow and SmartWay both use completely different naming schemes for their different kinds of transports, whether it be trucks, ships, airplanes. So we had some troubles aligning those. However, for the future, if we do a better job of matching those data points together, we can create a much clearer picture of how much we are using overall. We can even include a history using multiple years of SmartWay data, as well as maybe even creating a cost, both of the shipping and the environmental cost of our overall shipping operations.
Do you have a minute?
Yeah, come on in.
Okay, so I'm looking for a tanker truck with the lowest emissions. Can you help me out?
Yeah, totally. So you're gonna go up here in this column, this yellow column, and go and select tanker and deselect all of them. And up here, number one company that has the lowest CO2 emissions. And this unit is in grams per ton mile. And over here, just happens to be the same company, Eagle Transport Corporation. This happens to be the lowest NOx emissions. And if you want detailed from highest to lowest, or you can switch it from lowest to highest, this is current Dow carriers, and this is all the SmartWay carriers. So you would go down here if your boss asks for a ranking or anything like this, and Eagle Transport is at the top, and you can go through all of them with CO2, grams per ton mile for NOx, and then you'll see particulate matter all shows up as 0, and that's just because of legal reasons. Smog is technically not allowed in the United States anymore, so it's just negligible amounts, and you'll see sometimes the decimal point is just kind of far out. So this is number 1 for CO2, meaning most CO2, so the worst carrier, and then the best comes here at the top. And then you can see a visual here as well if this doesn't get the point across.
Wow, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is it the same for all truck types?
Yeah, for sure. So you're gonna go into this yellow column again, and say you wanted to select heavy/bulk. You go into that, minimize this, and for instance, this situation happens to be 2 different companies. So Liquid Transport LLC happens to be the lowest carrier in a heavy bulk category with 73 grams per ton mile for CO2, and this Jacobson Transportation Company is 0.13 grams per ton mile for NOx. So it kind of shows sometimes it is the same company that's the best with emissions across the board, and sometimes that happens to be 2 different. So, and then you would just do that for so on if you wanted to change your different shipping types.
With this user-friendly dashboard, we are able to provide visibility on truck emissions and help assist in picking the most sustainable carrier. This creates the ability to choose the type of truck that you are planning to use and see which one produces the least emissions. This will help with sustainability at Dow and help to reduce our environmental footprint.